You're going to see a little bit of a few different things on the channel over Christmas. I've just fished the last tournament of the year, and I'm on my way home from Glenbourne, and I've called into Tuggerah to pick up the new canopy for the touring rig. So the Amarok is getting its first of its big upgrade, so I'll do a few videos on what I'm going to do with the touring rig. It's definitely a touring rig, it's not a full driving rig, so I'll show you how I go. I've chosen GT Works. I've gone the canopy because they've custom built it to the size of my tray. I bought the ute with the tray already on it, so I would have gone with their tray as well, except for the ute already had the tray on it. But yeah, magnificent bit of kit. I'm just about to pick it up around the corner here. I'm about probably 10 minutes from turning up. So it would have been quite handy to have the canopy this weekend. It's unfortunate that the build took a little bit longer. I ordered it late, so they've rushed it through for me. It's been great that they've got it so I can get it on the way home and don't have to drive back up. But we've just gone through terrible storms in the last 5 days of fishing, and it's been absolutely terrible. Living out of the ute for 7 days. I want to show you this, if we can get this on camera. So, living out of the ute, we've just got the boxes, but that's the camp cot, Meduna, my sleeping bag and everything is under there. It's all saturated, absolutely drenched we got. So that's just what happens with these fishing these tournaments. We try and do it on the cheap. I can't afford to get cabins everywhere I go. I fish too much. So the V6 Amarok has been a great ute so far, really loving it. It's a 2019 model. I'm going to do as many mods as I can, and the first one of course is getting the canopy done. I chose to go a full-time canopy. I have a work ute to do all my ute stuff in, so I didn't want the lift off, or as they're known in Australia, a jack off canopy. So yeah, I'm about to go and pick it up, and I'll show you the build as I go through. Alright, it is D-Day. I have the Amarok here behind me. I'm at the weighbridge. So I have set this up in the sense of as light as what I can do with everything inside the cab. I've used aluminium, everything, haven't done the false floor, but I've loaded it up. I've got water in there, I've got food in there, I've got clothes in there, I've got everything installed in it. Now this comes down to whether I have to do any suspension upgrades, which I don't want to do. It's fully fueled, fully watered, everything, as I said, closed, the whole lot. Everything's been installed, so I'll get a weight here to see where I'm at. I will have to do some sort of suspension lift in the back, maybe a 2-inch lift, and some shockies because they're the originals on it anyway. I'm going to carry sort of that, hopefully that maximum weight. Anyway, I've got trucks coming, I've got to get off the road and do this top bridge. We'll start with the awning. Do Velcro straps. And we're done. Right, yeah. So the way I've put the canopy on the top, I've had to follow the instructions, but I couldn't put both on the stainless steel brain, and one's just in front of it. But as for how, you know, solid it is, it seems really, really solid on the build. I've placed it up high enough that I can open this door, it doesn't touch, and I can still walk underneath it. So I've still probably got another inch there if I needed it, but at this stage I'm pretty happy with how that goes. Obviously this is all set up, but I'm going to show you my little hack that my son's mate gave me, which is so this just gives me an extra 300 mils of table if I want to make me coffee or whatnot. I'm straight out there. Then on top of that, the trundle drawers at the back make an excellent table. When I've got the boat on, I can bring it at half, but when I'm traveling, I can bring it out full. So by opening the trundle drawers, that gives me a full table to cook on, and it is still underneath all of the angles of the awning. So I'm pretty happy with how that has set up, that I've got table there, I've got little bench there, and I'm already ready to go.
And you're good.
Alright, one of the other things with the GT Works, they come with the actuator in here for the central locking. That's a job down the track that I'm going to have central locking hooked up. The good thing about the Amaroks is they have the actuator runs to the petrol cap, because they have a locking petrol cap. So I'd only have to wire it up to the petrol cap cord here, rather than wiring it all the way into the cab. So with the build, I've used things that I've already had. I've tried to do a budget build, but buy the best canopy possible instead of buying the best of everything and then, you know, blowing out of all proportions. I'll do some figures later on and work out exactly how much it's cost me, but there's been very limited stuff that I've had to buy to build this canopy. Most of it I've been buying over time, so it's kept the cost down. But these old camping lights, I've had these for years, and I decided to use them throughout and hooked them to the kick-ass control panel. So when I turn them on, it gives me lights on the outside, lights all through the back of the canopy, but I can separate them. So I've got these ones on the front and the back ones on the back. So the other side's on one switch, this side's on another. And I've decided, instead of using dual purpose and drilling more holes in the back of the canopy, that I've made the outside lights here. So all I have to do is unplug this one here, run it up and plug it into this hole here, and it gives me outdoor lighting as well. So the only downside to that is I've got to make sure that I disconnect it before I close the doors, or I'm going to pinch them. But it's got a dimmer on it as well. I couldn't dig out my orange ones. I will find my orange ones, and I think I'll put them out here. But I've got to go through all of my old camping gear to find them. So at the moment, these are really cool. The way that the awning folds up, that you can put them on the bottom of the awnings and they don't touch. So they can stay up there and live up in when it's folded up. So the other thing that I've added, I'll just disconnect these here. So that gives me lights throughout the whole canopy, and I'll do some still shots of the lights. But on the back here, underneath the little thing, I've got reversing spotlights, and I haven't wired them up yet. I'm going to do cooking off the back. So I haven't got cooking going through the canopy itself. So I'm going to do the cooking off the back, and I'll be able to turn the bigger spotlights on for while I'm cooking. But I haven't wired those up yet. So I wanted to make it as quick to set up as humanly possible with still being comfortable. This is a one-person rig for when I go away tournament fishing. So, you know, I carry one chair. I've got this nice little table that I can leave while I do boat ramps and stuff like that. The other thing is I wanted everything easily accessible. So I'll do some screen grabs of little bits and pieces, but like all of my sprays here, all of my oils here, I'll do some photos of them. I've got to get a bungee cord to go around and stop them from vibrating a little bit. But those two things here, I've got solar input up the top, I've got fridge temperature here, I've got inverter controller here. So, and I just went into where was it, Kmart, and bought these little takeaway trays that go in here. Well, they're not really takeaway, but they're fridge trays. So These got a little rubber mat in the bottom of them, so they're easy to clean out, but they're a perfect size to fit in here. So once you've got them in, you know, that's my coffee, that's my jet boil. It's nice and easy just to pull it out. I've got sandwich bags here, I've got some cleaning stuff. Pots and pans are in underneath the table itself, or underneath the drawers, so I can pull them out when I need. I've left this one empty just for knives and forks as I'm on the go, because you know you want somewhere to steer your spoon. Other things, like if it's too windy and I can't access the other side, I've got a little slide out table on here as well, which I can use for the jet boil, I can use for other things. So in the drawer itself, which opens here, I've got all my cups, I've got my food, I've got my condiments at the front, so it's all nice and easily accessible. Alright, so I've put a couple of hooks up here, obviously for my keys when I'm at campsite, but I always carry this. As I said, it's a lightweight build. I'm doing it to try and stay under GBM. Just an old fishing scale, goes up to 50 kilos. So anything extra I add to the van, I can weigh. So I'm still underweight, but they just live up there, so it's easily accessible if I'm putting extra weight in. The fridge itself is just the King's fridge, fits perfectly in there. I've had this running for about a week now on the solar, and the solar puts enough power back in to run the fridge and the lights and everything that I need to run. It's pretty much unlimited. It is also hooked to the alternator that was already all wired up, because it was a towing vehicle before I had it. So yeah, I've got alternator power, I've got solar power, I can plug it into 240 volt through the 240 volt charger if I want. But this has been running for 7 days, and the solar puts in enough to anything that I use.
No.
So this is the King's monitor for the fridge. I can take that around camp, I can do whatever. I've made that removable so people can take it out. But it's telling me currently now that it was 38 degrees in the highest peak today inside there. The fridge is running at 4 degrees and it got down to 0 degrees overnight. So it gives you a reading of the last 12 hours. The green box up here is the Renogy shunt. It tells me how much power I'm using, you know, how much power is going in through the solar and that sort of thing. That's quite an easy setup. You set that up through your negatives, so make sure your negatives are onto that, and that goes up there. The next one down is the digital controller for the kick-ass inverter, which runs the microwave on the other side, which I'll show you in a minute. The kick-ass control panel, I've got my charging station here. I can charge all my laptops, all my drones, all my computers. Nice little bench here, hidden away. I can lock it up and everything can still be charging. I'll put some photos, close-up photos, the Wi-Fi Go, the Wi-Fi extender, the aerial on the other side as well. But nice and easy, simple to set up. I was able to do this all myself with limited knowledge and skill, so pretty happy with that. And in the back of there is my permanently mounted kick-ass travel oven, which yeah, is a godsend. If I'm driving anywhere, the alternator puts in enough charge to cover whatever that takes out. So generally 2 hours before I turn up at my campsite, I've done a review on these on my YouTube channel already, put a frozen meal in, set the timer, let it go, and when you turn up you got hot food. So I love that, and it doesn't use any battery while you're driving. I've also noticed since putting the solar panel on the roof, the solar panel can keep up to it as well.
Go.
Apologies for the lighting, this is the best I could do. This is the Telstra Wi-Fi Go aerial. I've mounted on the side for ease rather than running it to the front. I'm not sure if it's actually legal, people will pick me up on that, but I can move it onto the inside of there, but then it doesn't have a snap away on it. So I've mounted it there. If somebody tells me off, they tell me off. Solar panel on the roof. Eventually I'll have my kick-ass awning. I'm thinking about actually mounting it on the roof of the cab, but we'll see what happens on where that is for my change room. Opening this side up. So in this side here, I have a couple of containers just for stuff. I've got my fan in that one. I've got nothing in this one at the moment. Obviously, you can see there that my microwave's in there, and works. So I'll do some photos of this, but the microwave's strapped into there. If I need to microwave anything, I can just get to it from here. These are just straight bolted with the T-flame, and then I've got the bolts holding that in. 110 amp hour FPV lithium battery running the whole house, and as I said, all the storage that's underneath that as well. So this is just flat space. Obviously fire extinguisher up the front for safety, but slots, T-slots, put them wherever you want. So one of the reasons I had the custom built canopy done was Amaroks have a really wide tray on them. So it's 190 from lip to lip, and it's 185 lengthwise. So 185 is not long enough for me to lay lengthways, but it is crossways. And there's two reasons for that. One is I didn't want any weight behind the axles because I'm not doing a GVM upgrade. So I wanted all the weight at the front of the canopy, and I wanted basically no weight back here. So I've got mattress, sleeping bag and a couple of pillows, and I'll put my chair on there, that's it. So I've got no weight behind the axles. I'll do some views of that from the sides, but this is about 3/4 of the width of a single, so it's not quite a single, but it is a full length single long. So I can fit in here with closing the doors and actually lay straight. So the big thing was for me, I didn't want bent legs, which I would have had to do that way. So I've put this down the back to conserve weight behind the wheels, and I'll do a wide shot from the other side to show you what I'm talking about of the weight over the axles. So on the Amaroks here, obviously dual cab, you know, the weight, I didn't want the weight to be too much behind because it is a very long tray. So you can see here where the fridge is, that's the end of all the weight, which gives me most of my weight over the axles, and the axle weights on this was really good when I put it on the weighbridge. So having just the bed at the back means that apart from the tow ball, or when I've got the boat on, this is pretty much perfectly weighted forward to back.
Now,
so with Apple CarPlay and everything else, you don't really need to do much on the inside. The only thing on the inside that I've done so far is add the GME unit. I chose the XRS units because they're just the best. But the best part about these is you can remove them fairly easy. So everything is under the dash, so you can't see. You put that in the glove box or in the back and it's safe. Nobody will even know that it's hooked up in here. So that's a nice visual aid there. I love the magnetic backs that they've got on them so they can live there, but just in brief testing in this one, I don't have to move that off the dash. With the quick buttons on it, I can do my push to playback and my location settings, that sort of thing, without moving it. The volume's great, so I don't even have to take my eyes off the road. It's all there, push to talk. A great little unit. I am going to put look, I'm undecided at this stage, but I think I'm going to save up and do the right one because I do want to carry a caravan behind this eventually, which will mean I'll have to do a GVM upgrade if I'm going to tow the caravan, but for now I don't, and the whole purpose of this build was to make it lightweight and under without doing a GVM upgrade. But I'm going to put a Safety Dave reversing or rear facing camera on this because you do have no view other than the side views out of this. The in-dash reversing one's fine for putting it on the tow bar, but when you're driving along you've got no view really from directly behind you. And if you use the Safety Dave one, I know they're a little bit more expensive, but when you buy a caravan they're normally always set up with a Safety Dave so you don't have to change then. So I am going to put a Safety Dave in here eventually, so I've got rear vision out of the back. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the rear vision one or mount the unit on the dash.
now,
So if I want to go to the boat ramp or get up early and go, this is how quickly and easily it is. I'm going to do a quick pack up for you. Obviously you can leave stuff set up and use somebody else's car, but this is how easy it is. So it's just pushing the trunk drawers. They're self-locking. Fold up my chair. Put it up here. Undo my table. This can stay on by the way too, so I don't have to take that off, but table in, door closed. Then we go around to the other side with the awning. It's just literally undo this strap here. I leave the strap on. We wind it back in, it folds up. It doesn't catch on the lights at all. So everything goes in here. You just roll up these, remembering to get your Velcro strap out. Pull the flap over the top. Wouldn't want to be a short person, that's about the other thing. Getting the zippers around the corner always felt to be the biggest problem. Zip one's one way. There we go. So I'd be ready to go to the boat room.